The Last of Us Part 2 is an absolute masterpiece. Naughty Dog somehow manages to surpass its already fantastic predecessor to create something even more impressive. From its incredible graphics to fluid animations, fantastic storytelling, gripping and gritty world, The Last of Us 2 is a must-own for the PlayStation 4 and an experience that won't be forgotten for a long time, especially due to the controversy it's caused on the internet with the mixed opinions it's received. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another 24Karat reviews by gamers for gamers, where the 24Karat Club and I review our experience of games together. If you like to get involved with the reviews, then make sure you follow me on Twitter or Facebook or join the Discord, and make sure you join our experiences live together on Twitch. All of the links are in the description below. And without further ado, let's get into The Last of Us Part 2 review. As with all of my reviews, I try to keep them as spoiler-free as possible by not discussing what specifically happens in the games, but a discussion instead of how the story is portrayed, delivered, and executed. This couldn't be more true with this game, and I will avoid speaking about the main plot points of the game. If you would like to see a full spoiler review, then do let me know in the comments, as I would love to hear your thoughts on the game as well if you've played it yourself. With that out of the way, let's start off by saying that this game's story is like Marmite. A lot of people will love it and a lot of people will hate it, since the game will unapologetically tell you the story that unfolds, whether you agree with it or not. It will at times force the player to do things that they may not necessarily want to do or agree with, and nothing can be done about that. And that can be a problem for gamers that have become accustomed to having choice in their game. The Last of Us Part 2 continues from where the first story left off and follows the story of the characters from the first game, Ellie, as well as a new playable character, Abby. The game focuses on the themes of an endless cycle of revenge between characters as well as two factions: the Washington Liberation Front, Wolves for short, and the Seraphites, also known as Scars. In my opinion, the game's story is extremely well told, showing characters in a completely vulnerable state and how this vulnerable state can make them make outlandish and sometimes crazy decisions that are still believable, even if it means sacrificing their friends and the ones that they love. The series is still full of absolutely shocking and horrific scenes, just like its predecessor, which means this game is definitely not for everyone, especially those who are squeamish from gore. The acting is amazing, with all of the characters really conveying deep, raw emotion, and this is enhanced by the technology used to accentuate the actors' expressions and body language. The pacing of the game is really well executed as well, making me not want to put the game down. If I didn't need to sleep, I would have played this game in one sitting. Instead, we spent 3 sittings in our 30-hour playthrough of the game, which smartly makes sure that throughout the story there is always a driving force reason for why you want to continue to play the game. The order in which the story is told and the cliffhangers constantly leaves the player wanting more. The gameplay is just as tense as the story the game tells, remaining similar to the previous game whilst adding new improvements such as proning and generally lowering the importance of shivs in the game compared to the first. Whilst outside of combat, you'll continue to scavenge for every round of ammo that you can find, as well as materials to craft molotovs, medkits, smoke bombs and more, including the addition of a new silencer with limited number of uses, explosive traps and some other new weapons unique to Abby. The game also provides open areas for you to explore, similarly to sections in Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, giving the player freedom to explore large areas with different buildings. What makes the gameplay impressive are the subtle details, such as the enemies saying the names of the characters when you murder them, for example. It actually makes you empathize with them, again making you question the morals and motives of certain characters. The quote, "One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter," definitely comes to mind as you're playing this game. The game's environments also prevent the gameplay from becoming too stale, with some fights taking place across multi-level broken skyscrapers, flooded buildings, scenarios in the middle of a war between factions or a group of infected nearby, which you can lure to the human enemies. These provide the player with different ways of approaching combat, all while you unlock new upgrades for your weapons and the character to create an excellent combat experience overall. Solving puzzles and sometimes finding collectibles to open vaults was also a nice break from the regular flow of the game, as well as figuring out how to climb and traverse to reach new areas. The game really rewards you for exploring, providing the player with new weapons, skills, and resources whenever they do. The enemies have also been improved, with clickers now having the ability to actually somewhat see when they screech loudly in front of them, simulating how echolocation would work in real life. Stalkers feel more threatening in this game, with them even having the ability to jump out of fungus buildups, leading to some pretty scary moments. Runners are even more numerous in this game than there were in the last, probably due to the new generational hardware, making for some awesome set pieces. There's a brand new type of enemy known as shamblers that can explode spore gases which kill you, and of course the bloaters make a triumphant return along with some other surprises. There were a couple of glitches in our playthrough of our game that did momentarily ruin the immersion from the game, but it didn't ruin the overall experience of the game. If anything, it actually gave some more comic relief to what is an extremely serious game. The graphics are one of the strongest points of the game, and the upgrade from the original on the PS3 compared to this game is quite visible. The facial animations, the beautiful foliage environments, and seeing nature take back the modern human Earth is still a sight to behold. The only downside is that if you're coming from being a PC player to the 30 frames per second here on the PlayStation 4, that could be an issue. We'll probably have to wait until the release of the PlayStation 5 version before we're able to get a buttery smooth 60 FPS version of the game to play. The soundtrack of the game is subtle for the most part, but highly effective when it is used, and also used to great effect as well during story moments. The sound effects are exceptionally well done as well, with every sound from the slicing of enemies' throats and the squealing noise that comes from the blood spewing out of their necks. The sounds of the clickers and the infected is still phenomenal. In summary, this is one of the best PlayStation 4 experiences I've had, and a must buy if you own one. This game will take you on an absolute emotional roller coaster of feelings and tells a very mature story. Whilst the game doesn't include multiplayer this time around, you're still getting pretty decent value for your money, with our first playthrough taking over 30 hours and the game offering a new game plus mode for you to play through the game. Knowing how everything will unfold will give you a different view of the game, whilst also working your way towards finding all of the collectibles and unlocking all of the upgrades. The game has been very divisive with the story that it tells, but that is not a bad thing. The characters of The Last of Us are complex, and they're living in a complex world. The 24Karat Club gave the game an average rating of 9 out of 10, and I'm giving the game a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching this 24Karat review. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews in the near future, and leave a comment in the comment section below letting us know what game you think we should play next and review. And be sure to check out all my socials and join the experience live on Twitch. All of the links are in the description below. Until the next one, this is GoldKarat signing out. Peace! Resident Evil 3 Remake, an anticipated follow-up to the critically acclaimed Resident Evil 2 remake, but does it live up to the standards the previous entry set?